Welcome to the Tested and Twisted podcast. I'm your host, Chase Shaw, and today we have Mr. Gregg Flowers.
What's up?
I thought he would be an interesting guest. I feel like I'm kind of looking at like a future version of myself over here. He's in logistics. I'm in logistics. He wants to help people. I want to help people. He's got a bunch of tattoos. I got a bunch of tattoos.
It's win-win.
Yeah. So he has Inspired 365. I mean, it's basically the same idea as what we got going on here. He just wants to help people in any way that he can. He's got a lot of life experiences, and he wants to share them, and he's gotten a great response so far. So I think this will be a helpful episode for everyone listening, and I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Amen, brother. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here, like they always say. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming. We'll jump in right at the start. How was childhood? Where were you born? We'll start there.
I was born in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
Air Force brat. 51 years ago.
All right. You look good for 51.
I get that. It's like the gray beard. I actually got called Papa Smurf at work the other day. And I was like, if I shave this off, you'll see that I'm a baby face. But born in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Parents met, small town in Newark, Ohio. If anybody sees this down the road and they hear me say Newark, Ohio, they're going to get mad because it's Newark, Ohio. It's a country town. But I was only down there for, I think, 6 months. I don't remember much my first 6 months of my life. It's what my mom told me. Lived in a trailer park.
Nice.
But then Dad went off to Vietnam. Mom and I are back home in Newark, Ohio. Then when he got back, their marriage lasted about I was 4.5 when they divorced.
Okay.
So religion was a big part of the family. My grandfather on my dad's side, hardworking man, had his own dairy, Kelly's Dairy. And then my grandfather on my mom's side, banker of the town, everybody knew him. So it was like two families coming together. But religion was a big reason why it didn't work. My father's religion had certain rules and expectations and standards. Excuse me. On my mother's side, we're Lutheran. So the religion was a big factor of it. To be honest, I always, be careful what I say, like you said earlier. I was my mother's 18th birthday present that wasn't wrapped, to say. The joke always is when Mom will say, I brought you in this world to take you out. I was like, yeah, but that was an accident. So, do you really want to go there? But parents got divorced when I was 4.5. That was tough. I mean, divorce wasn't. I mean, I didn't think it was when I was in Newark in elementary school. There was only me and another girl who came from a divorced family, so it was kind of like that wasn't a big thing back then in the late 70s.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up in a small farm town, and then speaking of logistics, my stepdad was making a sales call where my mom worked, trying to save the account because the rep before him was not doing a good job.
Shocker.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes in to save the account. Well, not only did he get the account, he got a girlfriend,
Ooh.
So they started dating. Yeah, and a kid. Ta-da. They started dating, but it was like a 45-minute drive from where he lived in Columbus to where we lived in Newark. And he said after about his second or third deer that he hit, he's like, you guys are coming to Columbus or this relationship isn't going to work.
It's getting expensive.
Yeah, so fast forward, I was at 15. Moved to Dublin, Ohio, which was all about money. It was all about either green. It was either about, when I was in high school, we said it was about green. It was either about money or marijuana. So,
all right.
But it was your typical like breakfast club. When I got to Dublin, you had to fit into a certain crowd. Mm-hmm. And that was tough for me because I come from, like I say, a small farm town to Dublin was just a bigger town, a lot of money, the memorial tournaments there for all you avid golf fans. So it was tough for me. It was a struggle. I'm going to be jumping around, but like I said, I was the only child from that marriage. Mm-hmm. My parents divorced. My dad met my stepmother, and they had 3 kids. Mm-hmm. And then when my mom met my stepfather, he brought 2 kids into the marriage, and then they had 2 kids, right? Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I have 7 siblings.
Holy shit, that's a party.
Only child.
Yeah.
2 sisters, and they're both named Tara. spelled differently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often.
No,
That's confusing.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's got that scenario. But it was tough growing up there for a minute. Just, going from, I didn't really see on I'll say my Kelly side, because that was my birth name is Gregory Robert Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
So when I worked with my parents, they got the company business. My stepfather, Ron Flowers, my mom, Cindy Flowers, my brother worked with us, Matt Flowers. So I'm going out making sales. Oh, yeah, you're Ron's son. Well, why does your business card say Greg Kelly? So I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's always
So I had to go
awkward.
through all that story I just told you on a sales call. But then I know I'm jumping around. Jeez.
No, you're good, man. This is perfect.
When I was in the service, I went in 91 right after I graduated, and my father and I we weren't as close.
Mm-hmm.
I will never say that my father was abusive. He didn't do it intentionally, but mentally, I felt like I was neglected. I only saw him every other weekend. We went on just a couple times. He came and got me out of the blue. Like, hey, it's Friday night. It's snowing. We were big sled riders, so let's go sled riding. And then he came and got me once when I was in 6th grade. Told my mom they're coming to Florida, and wanted me to go. And it wasn't a scheduled visitation. It was just like, can we take Greg on vacation? So, man, if I get emotional, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Hey, man, I cried 2 podcasts. I've cried on a couple podcasts now, so it's all good.
But my dad, and I actually confronted my dad, and I said, hey, why didn't you try harder? Why weren't we closer? He's like, well, I didn't want to take you away from your mom. I was like, I see that, but my mom had no problem. You could have said, hey, I want Greg every weekend, or I want to see Greg every Monday night, or I just want to pick Greg up and take him somewhere, spend the evening with him. She wouldn't have said anything. She would have loved that. But, there was just a lot of things that I just felt like, I can't be worried if he sees this. If he sees it, he sees it.
Yeah.
It just, I wish he was there more.
Yeah.
I really do wish he was there more. I told you earlier, one of the best times I ever played golf, it was with him. We didn't keep score. We just talked life.
Yeah.
Dude's a smart guy. Very, he's very in touch with Christ. He helped me have a relationship with God, but I didn't want it to be something that it's like, I don't want to say rules and you're able to break them, but I just want a relationship with God. Every morning I get up, I'm coming down Plantation. I look over across Hammond Stadium, see the palm trees and the sun.
Thank God.
Thank you, God, for another great day.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me kick ass today, because it's going to be, I'm in logistics.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I think that's a pretty common theme in religion or at least the religious people, is there's like, you got the group of the
Bible bashers.
Yeah, the ones that are a little more intense and they just follow the rules, and then you have the people who are a little more lenient, and they still love God and they have that relationship with God, but it's not their entire life,
Right. I learned that probably I got burnt real bad at a church we were going to in Lewis Center. Got real close with the pastor there, and it was a Lifetime movie. I mean, he ended up having an affair, and it was just I could spend hours on that, but I was ready to give everything to this church. And I remember sitting there one night I was helping with the youth group, and Morgan, I'll get into that, my kids later, but Morgan, my youngest daughter, my youngest son, they weren't old enough to be part of the youth group, but I would always bring them with me just because Sarah was doing something and didn't want to leave them home, so they would come with me. Well, at one point they're like, well, those kids aren't old enough for the group. You got to leave them home. I'm like, okay. And it was like 3 or 4 nights a week I was doing stuff at the church, and I'm like, I got to spend time with my family. Well, the church is more important. I'm like, deuces.
See ya. Yeah. Once the church starts saying shit like that, it's like, obviously you don't understand what I'm trying to do here.
And I've said it before. There was many times that I've had better conversations about my relationship with Christ in a bar with a dude all tatted up more than I have sitting at church because everyone's worried about what the pastor's going to say or the preacher's going to say. You got to be perfect. And I'm like, no, just fucking be yourself.
Right. Or what the other people are going to think. That's huge in that community too. It's
and
like,
we talked about that. From majority of my life, I always worried about what people thought of me, especially, Mom and I didn't have a lot of money. It was just us. I was worried about the clothes I wore. I was worried about how I dressed. I was worried about what people think of me. And we talked about it earlier. It didn't take until after my divorce to realize, fuck it. This is me.
Mm-hmm.
Circle back around to God. He created me to be me. Beautiful. I always say be unique, because you do. You have to be unique. And kind of what we're doing today is you're learning about me. I'm learning about you. We have, I knew as soon as I met you, and you're not fake. You're who you are. And I saw your first podcast. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a good one.
Thank you.
But you were just raw. I'll spend all day talking to somebody like that versus someone that's fake and trying to figure out who they really are, because I don't have time for fake people.
Complete waste of time. You're not getting anything out of that.
No, because if I'm say I came in here today a suit and tie and all prim and proper and tried to just, tell you all the right answers, you wouldn't get to know me.
No.
And the only person that's going to benefit from that is I'm being someone you want me to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's in relationships. I've seen it. I've done it. I was a yes dear husband before in my first marriage.
I feel you.
And I can remember the exact spot I was driving in up in Lewis Center, driving down the road, and it was just, I was stressed all through divorce, because I didn't want to put my kids through a divorce. I'm really jumping around, dude. We're not going in any chronological order.
So let's jump back a little bit. I just kind of want to focus on that for the first divorce you went through, the only divorce you went through, correct?
Yes, the only divorce.
Well, besides your divorce.
Yeah.
So did
divorce
that
as a kid, and then we'll fast forward to do you want me to fast forward that much?
No, to your divorce, correct? That's right. So back up to the parents' divorce. After that happened, obviously the move I went through that was hard. You're in this new place. You feel very insecure.
I went to the school for the first time April of my freshman year, at the end of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that I got to know in my neighborhood were seniors, so I was getting rides with them. So I was cool, man. I knew all these seniors, but they were gone.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So once you move to this new location, are you making friends pretty quickly?
Yeah, in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And what kind of kid are you?
What kind of kid?
Are you playing sports? You get in trouble?
I was trying to play sports. I'm not the most athletic guy. I was usually, like in the basketball team, I was maybe second or third string. I love baseball, but I never had a competitive, I don't say competitive bone in my body. I'm not real competitive.
Yeah.
I do something because I enjoy. I love to golf. I told you.
Yeah.
I don't care if I shoot in the 90s or over 100. Especially down here. So I did sports. I was trying to try out for the basketball team in Dublin. Found out real quick if you're not a good athlete, family doesn't have money. There wasn't too many kids in my situation. So
there's only so many spots on a basketball team for us short white guys.
Exactly. And at that time, very skinny.
Yeah.
But to your point, yeah, I was making friends, but I knew real quick that the only way to really make friends then was you got to get high, you got to smoke. So I had a lot of different friends that did that.
And did you partake in that?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, all right.
I was always a mooch. I don't think I've ever bought marijuana in my life.
Good for you. Good for you. That's good. That's awesome.
So drugs never broke me. But
that's awesome.
No, that's how I made friends in high school. Was just kind of trying to get in the party scene. And like I said, the school I went to, it felt like Breakfast Club. But dude, we'd go to a party and there would be a jock, a nerd, a band geek, a sporto, everybody hanging out because they're all getting high or partying. So,
I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
If weed can do that, we need a little
there's
more weed.
There's one way to look at it. So, it was a tough transition just because it's like going from, I don't know much around this area. I've only been here a year, but just imagine just a small little community. Nothing. I'm downgrading it, but say someone living, say in Lehigh in their little neighborhood, and then the next thing the kids got to move and go to a school in Miami.
Big difference.
Yeah, it'd be a huge culture shock, I would think. So that's what it was for me.
Interesting. That's exactly what happened to me. Grew up in a town, 500-600 people. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, you're in Minneapolis in this school that had way more kids. At just like completely different atmosphere. Everything.
And parents are always like, "Oh, you'll be okay. It'll be fine. You'll make friends." You know how hard it is to make friends at that age. We didn't have freaking cell phones back then. We didn't have social media.
Yeah.
So I was able to get into a core group of friends. It was we were all good friends. And it felt like wow, I'm showing my age on these movies. That felt like St. Elmo's Fire.
Mm-hmm.
We all, guys and girls. There was only Chris and Pam that dated. It was the guy had all the money and the girl that was one of the cheerleaders. The rest of us were just middle class, trying to fit in. And I think I took 2 or 3 of them to different dances. But we just had fun.
Yeah. As far as mental health, you just went through this divorce. You're moving to this new school. How's your mental health at this time?
I thought I was fine, but as I got older, I realized how much the divorce kind of fucked me up.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had a very amicable divorce. Father wasn't abusive, mom wasn't, an alcoholic. It wasn't anything. It just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They fell out of love, but then, as I said earlier, I got to Dublin. If your parents weren't divorced, you were a minority.
Yeah.
So that kind of felt good. It wasn't just me that had divorced
Yep.
parents. Oh, I can't go out this weekend because I'm going to see my other parent. Once I got to Dublin, so I moved like 45 minutes away from Newark. My dad moved like another 45 minutes on the other side of Newark. So we kind of gradually didn't see each other that much. The distance started getting, the time we spent together started getting further and further away. So that's where I was just kind of getting kind of fed up. And I mentioned how I had my last name is Kelly when I was working for Eagle. When I was in the service, I got to that point where I wrote my dad basically a Dear John letter that I'm done. I've tried. I tried to keep in touch. I tried to write letters, and it's not being reciprocated. Mm-hmm. And a kid at 19 years old, I started realizing how much the divorce emotionally and mentally was kind of fucking me up, because I felt, you abandoned me almost.
Exactly.
And you don't realize, any kind of abuse is bad. I don't want to say one's worse than the other, but like physical abuse, you can see the scars. Mm-hmm. Emotional abuse, you can have two people sitting here. One guy's bruised all to hell because he got his ass kicked, maybe by an alcoholic father or something. And you got someone like me sitting over here with no physical scars, but on the inside, I'm a fucking wreck. Mm-hmm. I just felt, because then my parents, like I say, Ron Flowers and Cindy Flowers, my biological mother, they had two boys. Mm-hmm. I'm 15 years old, changing diapers. I mean, it was great birth control.
You're like, I ain't doing this shit.
No, but if I got grounded, I had to babysit my brothers. I mean, love my brothers, but it was just like, I was trying to just figure out where my life was, because I see my parents, coddling over these little kids, and I'm over here like, hey, what about me? Mm-hmm. So
kind of just get lost in the shuffle a little bit.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, to answer your question on how I was as far as a kid, I wasn't, I was that skinny white kid that just tried to fit in somewhere. I was always looking for attention. Yeah. Not like I was an attention whore, but I wanted to feel something. So
wanted love.
That's
what we all want.
Probably like we said earlier, I was one of those kids that, as soon as I met a girl, hey, I love you.
Yeah, me too.
We just met. And I was, oh my God, I was always, this is what pissed me off. You're bringing up some good stories.
Perfect.
I used to always hate when I'd find a girl, and it was always a challenge for me. Like I say, Dublin is a money town. Mm-hmm. So I was always trying to take out, I was driving I'd go wash my mom's LTD, that was it was just her basic boxy car. I'm taking that up to Murfield where all the golf courses are, and just trying to find the next cheerleader and everything. But I was always a nice guy. I was a mama's boy, I'll say that. And I wear that like a badge. But I was always trying to find the hot, oh well, you're just too nice. I don't deserve you. I'm like, oh, so you deserve the ex-boyfriend that was an asshole? Fine, go ahead.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah. But I was always trying to fall in love.
Yeah, I was the same way. And that comes from abandonment. Mm-hmm. I found out later on in life, going through therapy and whatnot, it's like, you're just looking for that love. It comes from
You're trying to control it.
Yeah. So you just attach yourself to everything, You find this girl, you think that she's the one, and you're like, dude, you're 15 years old. It's like, what are the chances?
Yeah, we're going to get married.
Yeah.
But it's just, you're always looking for the instant gratification, was never real good with money, mm-hmm. because I always wanted to buy stuff. Yeah. I got the instant gratification.
Yeah, me and you are so similar, man. It's crazy, I swear. So you mentioned the service.
Yeah. So 18 years old, just graduated high school. My brother and I would usually go down to Myrtle Beach and hang out. That was our spot to go to. We weren't spring breakers, but we'd usually go down there over July 4th. I was 19. I'd been going to Ohio State University, for like a semester, but I was flunking out. I wasn't, I even tried to live at home. Oh, I'll just live at home so I don't have to, don't have to pay for it. I won't be partying all the time. No, I'd still drive down on Thursday night, party, drive back home. And then Friday morning, I'm sleeping in my car not to go to class.
Yeah.
So we were in Myrtle Beach, and I knew I was flunking out of high school or college. I'm sitting on the beach, completely sober, 2 a.m, just trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my life? My dad's company was just getting off the ground. They didn't have room for me yet. I understood that. College wasn't for me. Fucking, I'm going to the Army. So the whole way home, that's about a 10-hour ride. I didn't really talk. My brother's like, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm fine. Just leave me alone. As soon as we got home, threw my bags in the house, drove to the MEP station, talked to a recruiter, and signed up for the military. And this was right around Desert Storm. So my mom was freaking the fuck out. My biological dad was in the Air Force. My stepfather was in the Army. So we come from a military background. My grandfather was in World War II. So I went into the office and said, hey, I'm going to the military. No, you're not. And then my mom calls my dad in. You talk him into this? And I'm like, no, he had nothing. This is my decision. I want to do this. College isn't working. You don't have a spot for me at Eagle yet. I'm going to the Army. Mm-hmm. We cried. She's like, no, no, you're not. You're gonna, you're gonna go over there and you're gonna get. It's during Desert Storm.
Of course.
I'm fine, Mom. It's what I want to do. So, got the blessing, and yeah, went in the service.
And how was that whole experience?
Loved it and hated it.
What did you love about it?
It made me grow up real fucking fast.
I bet.
Real fucking fast. It's just you have, basic training was. I spent time in Korea, and in Korea they make every 18-year-old male serve 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Their crime rates down. It's a good idea. I wish. I mean, it'll never happen in the United States, but I wish every 18-year-old male and female would have to do something like that. But it made you grow up real fast. Made you appreciate some things you took advantage of. Just your freedom of being able to do what the fuck you want, because they literally tell you when to shit, shower, and shave. I mean, you're getting up, you're going to eat. Now you're going to go run. Now you're going to go to a class. Now we're going to learn how to be soldiers. And
getting that discipline.
Yeah, it was a discipline. And that was a funny thing, because my partying days when I was in high school, my stepfather came, he was military. He knew it. And we called it adjustments. You're going to have some adjustments. You're not going to be able to treat your mom like this. You're not going to smoke. You're not going to get high. I'll do what I want. No. So my mom still has a letter that I wrote home when I was in basic training, tell Dad I understand what adjustments mean now.
That's cool. That's cool that you could look back at that kind of stuff. That's awesome that she kept it.
Oh yeah, I think she still has all my letters when I was in the service. But that's kind of, we're having these little small full circles. That's what life's about, is you have to learn it.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is if you can go through some shit. I went through my parents' divorce as a child, which we'll get to how it helped me later in life, and just the military and just day-to-day life. I don't have any losses in my life because they've all been turned into lessons.
Yeah, that's
how
awesome.
I look at it.
And that's key. I mean, like you said, life, all that stuff that you go through, you have to turn it into something. And when it's happening, it's so hard to do that. It really is. Oh man, it's so hard.
You don't know it when you're in the middle of it. It's always refreshing to look back. Just talking to you today, I can look back and all the things I've learned in life, which, not to go too fast forward, but that's what Inspired 365 is stuff I've learned in my life, because I know I'm the only Gregg Flowers in the world. Mm-hmm. The only Gregg Flowers that's got 2 sisters named Tara and 7 siblings. But I'm not the only person going through this thing we call life.
Yeah.
I'm not the only person. I'm sure we've all been in situations where you're the only person in the room and you're the only person you think you're dealing with this problem. Everybody's dealt with. There's always somebody that's dealt with hurt, neglect, addiction, love, hate, any of all that. But if we don't tell our stories and share life, I always like knowing that, it's like when you hear somebody, oh, well, I've been through that. I know what it's like. It doesn't make you feel, it doesn't fix the problem right away, but at least I can say, all right, well, Chase has been there. Okay, look, he's made it. All right, cool. It gives you some kind of hope that I'm going to be able to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, everyone's so worried about what everyone else thinks all the time, and everyone wants to come off as perfect. And if more people just shared their story, I think the world would just be a happier place. Maybe not even happier, but healthier.
Yeah.
Which would help.
And I do this all the time. Like Sarah, she laughs at me because I'll talk to total strangers. I was telling you, I talked to some last night, but it's like, if I talk to you and I just met you in a bar on the beach and we're just shooting the shit, and we start talking and realizing, oh, maybe me telling my story to you helps me for the moment, but sometimes me telling my story helps the person listening. Mm-hmm. So it can go both ways. Yeah,
absolutely. So, what age did you get out of the service?
Gosh, I'm trying to figure what life events happened, because I was in at 19, celebrated my 21st birthday, I think, in Korea. I got out like in my mid-20s. I was 24 when I got out.
Okay. And was it just a choice thing, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you asked earlier, the one thing I didn't like about the military obviously was the politics. Mm-hmm. You have people that outrank you that are total assholes, but it made me respect the uniform. You might outrank me, but I had to, I had guys that didn't know their job, but I had to respect them because they were in uniform and just.
Sounds like logistics.
Yeah. Well, and it taught me later in life about how I might not like this customer because they're assholes, but you're the customer. You kind of outrank me because you're helping me pay for my job. And then, managers or coaches and stuff like that. So that was a part I didn't like, but did help me. So yeah, I got out mid-20s.
And then what happens after that? Where do you go?
Came back home, moved in with my brother, was able to start working for Eagle at that time. which was good because now I'm on the forklift, working my way up through there.
All right.
Get back, started. I met Kim, my first wife, through my cousin.
Okay.
And his group of friends. Because I came back from Korea, all of my friends in high school were either graduating college and going on with life. I mean, I really had no one at that time, so here we are again, feeling alone.
Mm-hmm.
But lived with my brother and another friend of ours working at Eagle. Like I say, through my cousin and some his friend group, met Kim. We hit it off. Somebody I had good times. We were good friends. And we were married. We decided we were going to be married a couple years before we had any kids because we wanted to enjoy life.
Not that it matters, but just out of curiosity, how did you propose?
At a cookout.
Nice.
with all these friends. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Then
which is ironic because the apartment complex that I proposed to her at, didn't know it at the time, but Sarah and her husband, my current wife, also lived in that complex.
No shit.
Yeah.
No way. That is crazy.
We started talking about that at one point, and I was like, yeah, I lived here with Kim. And Sarah's like, me and Marty lived in the same neighborhood.
Wow. That is wild.
So, and there was a couple other like another complex that we all kind of lived. So we were like following each other, talking about God's plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were to cook out, and that's when I proposed to Kim.
And the relationship, as you said, you guys were friends and started off pretty good.
Yeah, we were good friends. We were trying to enjoy life, and then we had Tanner in 2000. Yeah, had Tanner in 2000. Bought our first house over in Lewis Center. There again, things were clicking. It's stressful being a parent at that age,
Did that first kid change you as a man? Did you feel?
Oh hell yeah, I love being a father.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was that's when I had my, obviously Tanner and Cody. Again, learning from my childhood, I always was going to be there for my boys. One thing that I did avidly was I was always the baseball coach.
Okay.
Always I loved coaching baseball.
That's cool.
Loved it. It's just because there again, Dad didn't come to many baseball games. Dad wasn't. Dad was working. He was trying to run his own business. My biological father. So that's one thing is I drew. You always hear those guys. Well, that's how I was raised. Mm-hmm. I was not going to be the dad that I wish. I wanted to be the dad I wish I had.
And do you feel like that healed some of that trauma for you in a way?
100%. 100%.
That's good. Yeah, I've always wondered about that because I'm kidless right now, but I've always wondered if, and don't get me wrong, my stepdad who stepped in, he helped heal a lot of that trauma from not having my biological dad in my life. But I always thought, man, it'd be nice to have that kid, and not only to have a kid for that reason, but I feel like it could be.
I have a feeling you're going to be a great father, and you're going to be just like me. You're going to be like, I want to be the dad that I wanted.
Yeah, I look forward to
that. But sometimes it's backfired sometimes because I over-fathered, and we can get into that. But it's just that sometimes I care too much.
Yeah.
But it's just because I never wanted my kids to think that, man, Dad was never there for us.
Yeah.
As they get older, they do their own thing. But so we had Tanner and Cody.
And how far apart are they?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Cody will be turning 20. Yeah, 4 years because Cody will turn 20 in February, and then Tanner will turn 24 in next May. So yeah, 4 years.
And are these choices or are they surprises?
They were choices. Yeah, they were choices.
there was choices that went into having these kids. That's for sure.
Well, not to get too graphic, but when Cody was born, we knew we weren't protecting ourselves, and we said, fuck it, here we go. So
classic.
Yeah.
So then 2 kids,
2 boys.
Okay,
yep.
All right, and everything
at that point in my life,
and everything in their relationship is still pretty good.
It's been a rough couple years with my oldest, Tanner. If he was sitting right here, I'd tell you everything he's going through.
No. I mean, in the marriage at that point.
At that point, everything's going good. Yeah.
Okay. So then, at what point?
It gradually started getting to the point where Kim worked retail. She worked a lot. So then now we're back to, as you're bringing it out of me, more neglect. As far as like we weren't in the marriage wholeheartedly because she was always working. I was filling that void with being there for the boys, or my eyes were starting to stray. I was looking for attention again, so I was a big flirt. I can go ahead and put this out there. We were to be honest, we were both unfaithful to each other towards the end. I think we were both looking for different attention. It came to the point where Kim she just fell in love with the marriage. But that's when it was real tough for me. That's when the past came out in me, because now we're talking divorce. I'm like, I never wanted to put my kids through divorce because
it's
how
brutal.
I went through. Never. There again, Kim and I didn't beat on her. We didn't fight in front of the kids if we argued. It wasn't an abusive relationship. It was a lacking of emotional relationship. So here we go again. You know, I felt like I was neglected from my father. Now I'm going to feel neglected from my wife at the time. Fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
And now I got to put my kids through a divorce. So at one point, Kim and I went to counseling for a while. I was fucked up, dude. Went to counseling, and, you know, the counselor asked me she wanted to see us one-on-one. You know, she saw us together, and she's like, I want to see you guys one-on-one. Well, the whole reason why, the first time I went in to see this counselor by myself, I sat down, and she's like, I want to talk about our last session with Kim. I'm like, okay. She's like, you need to leave her. I'm like,
no way.
I was like, can you say that? This counselor flat out told me, she's like, if you don't leave her, you're never going to be happy.
Wow.
I was like, okay, we're done here.
I've never heard something like that.
I know.
Before.
I was like, what the fuck? Went to my truck, and I just bawled like a little bitch. And I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean? You know, so I'm sitting there thinking, we were talking about divorce, and I was so scared. I was like, I never really told my dad how I really felt, you know, and at this point, I'm in my late 30s, I think, early 40s, late 30s. I don't know. No, because I spent my 40th with Sarah. So then I thought, man, I never told my dad how I really felt. What if we go through this divorce, and the whole time Tanner's growing up, he's like, oh, the divorce didn't affect me. You know, that freaked me out. So I started I'm a big proponent, not on purpose, but I always put myself in your shoes, how you're feeling in this situation. Yep. So I'm like, how's Tanner going to feel? So I went home, saw Kim. I said, I'm going to see my dad. She thought I was going to see my dad to tell him we're getting divorced. And I didn't. I was like, no, I'm going to see my dad. Go to see dad. And I said, hey, you know, he goes, yeah, your stepsister and your stepmom said you want to talk about something. I said, yeah. I said, Kim and I aren't doing real well, and I don't know where it's going to go, but I want to tell you what the divorce did to me. You know, you really fucked me up. He didn't say it in so many words. I've never really cussed in front of my father, but I was like, I just want you to know, and I want to figure out, you know, what could we have done better. And he apologized for it, and it was, you know, real hard on him, you know, especially when his father died. We had a good moment, because I told him, I said, you know, he's like, I remember standing at my grandfather's casket and losing it right before, you know, the night before the service, and he comes up and hugs me, says, hey, I'm really sorry. I was like, you know what, Dad, you were never the dad you should have been for me, but he was an amazing grandfather. So you better make a promise to me that you're this type of grandfather to your grandsons. Because at this point he had 3 grandsons, my 2 boys and my nephew. And you know, he said, I'll do my best. But he's an emotional guy, and he outwardly, he uses his humor to kind of show his emotions. I've had some heart-to-hearts with him. There's one time I had a heart-to-heart with him and threw some stuff out on the table, and he's like, all right, well, you want a coffee before you drive back home? And I'm like, dude, I just spent like an hour getting shit off my chest. And so I'm, you know, there again, I'm done trying. But fast forward to the boys, it's like, I didn't want to put my boys through this, but, you know, my sons know how to treat a woman. You know, they know how to treat a woman with respect. They know how to treat their elders. They can be fucking punks, but when it comes down to being a gentleman, they know how. So the biggest reason why I was okay with a divorce and putting them through it was, I was like, if I stay in this marriage, because we could have stayed in the marriage and been cookie cutters. Mm-hmm. One, I wasn't teaching my boys how a marriage works. And I thought, what if my boys come to me and they're in the same situation I am? And I said this to my daughters too. What happens if our kids come to us and say, well, why didn't you get divorced? You know, I'm in this marriage where my wife doesn't love me and we're being unfaithful to each other and life sucks. And you know, what would I tell my kids? Would I tell them that they should probably split up? So, and the big thing too I hated about the divorce is you have to go fill out all the paperwork. I had to fill out fucking paperwork to tell the judge when I want to see my kids. So that killed me. I didn't sign those papers for like weeks. And Kim was like, you have to sign these papers because we have to get this ball rolling. I was like, I don't want to tell a fucking judge or a judge to tell me when it's okay to see my sons.
So fucked up. They shouldn't have anything to do with any of that bullshit.
So Kim and I came to understanding that, all right, this is the schedule, but we're going to do what we want. Yeah. We just have to put something on paper. So we went ahead and we got to the divorce. She stayed in the house. I literally rented an apartment that was a 5-minute walk. I wanted to, again, back to my childhood. if my sons call me and say, Dad, I want to ride my bike to your house and hang out tonight. Well, as long as I'm not, getting some on the side, I'm like, yeah, sure, come over. But I just, again, I didn't realize it at the time, like you said, until now. I was always doing shit that I wish was done to me, as far as I wish my dad would have lived 5 minutes from the house where I could ride my bike over there. So have the divorce.
Hold on 1 second.
Going too fast. Sorry.
No, you're perfect. And we can cut this out. We don't even need to talk about it. It's just, I'm just a curious guy.
Ask away and I'll tell you if we should.
The infidelity part, was this like an agreement?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a, hey, you're going to do your thing, I'll do my thing, or at that point.
To be totally honest, I don't care what setting I want to put it the right way. I was better at it. I was better at keeping it a secret than she was.
Gotcha.
Where it really came to fruition, I never used to look at my wife's phone, my ex-wife's phone. I would always hide my phone because I knew I was probably getting a text from somebody. She had left her phone out. And there was a text that came through from a gentleman, and I saw it. I went upstairs, and I threw the phone at her. I was like, what the fuck is this? She's like, well, this isn't going to work. And I was like, okay. But down the road, I mean, I had to, because when I was, trying to get back into church and wanted to get, I got baptized again, but I wanted to be honest. And I went back to her. I said, hey, you weren't the only one. You just got caught.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, good for you. I feel like that does something for you, and it does something for her.
I'm not afraid to admit it, but yeah, I wasn't faithful to her. She wasn't faithful to me. It just didn't work. But I think, and at the time, she was dedicated to her job. She wanted to make money. We needed money. She's a hard worker, and there's no playbook on this shit. I know people say, oh, there's the Bible, but there's no playbook on how to make a marriage work. There's no playbook on how to be the perfect parent. And we were young. Pretty much all of the friends we had, it was weird. We all got married around the same age. We all had our first kid around the same age, and we had to maybe, save the marriage and all that shit. And we all got divorced around the same time. So, yeah. It wasn't a planned arrangement. It was just, it happened.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was one of those situations where it's like, you're not happy, I'm not happy.
Which, you're right. People do that. Hey, you just do your thing.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't anything like that. It was just, we started living our own lives, and that's what she said. She didn't understand why, but she's like, I'm just falling out of love with the relationship. And I was like, well,
it happens.
It sucks, but
after the divorce, how was your mental health?
It sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. I was again, it felt like, okay, great. The divorce that I had as a kid sucked, and now here I am as a divorcee. I've got 2 boys. It broke my heart. I mean, there was a night in my apartment, I'm sitting on the floor just bawling my eyes out, and a buddy came over, and he's like, get your fucking ass up. You're going to make it through this. And that was an eye-opener to me, that I was like, I have to make it. Because what am I going to do? Just because if I sit here and just fall into addiction, pout, poor me, I still have 2 boys to raise. And I have 2 boys to raise through a divorce. And I got to get my shit together. I got to live life. You know? There was times, I mean, I didn't like pull the gun out or the knife out or anything or a rope, but there was times I thought, why not?
Yeah.
What am I living for?
Yeah.
It was those boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have 2 boys to raise, and life's going to get better. And I'm in a dark tunnel, but fuck, I got to find my way out of it. And there were some guys that helped me out of it. I ended up meeting a couple guys that are also going through divorce. Like I say, I had conversations that were better in the bar than I'm saying going to the bar was the answer, but we're talking God in a bar. We were, we also went to church together, but on Wednesday night we're playing pool and talking life. I was in a men's group that all of us men had gone through divorce, and again realizing, oh shit, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, and that helps. It really
and my mom was my best friend. She was always there for me. But there again, she couldn't fix it for me. But she did and she didn't. I mean, that's my mom's my first best friend I ever had, and always will be my number one best friend.
I feel you. Are you sticking through the therapy throughout this whole situation, or after the counseling?
No, after she told me to divorce her, I was like, fuck, I'm not going to pay you anymore to tell me the obvious. No, I hadn't gone through any more counseling.
Okay.
I probably should have. I mean, I think everybody, it never hurts to have someone just to be able to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. For me personally, it was one of the most useful tools in my life. And just having that person to talk to that understood every aspect of your life and kind of point you in the right direction and give you
Well,
some tools.
and they're professionals.
Exactly.
But like we just said earlier, I found out many times me talking to you right now, it's helping me with some things that I didn't realize. You know, you're asking some pretty good questions.
Mm-hmm.
Just me talking to, and sometimes you think you know, you're driving to work, you're sitting on the beach, and you're thinking life, and you think, oh, I'm going to find the answer. Sometimes you got to talk that shit out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's one thing. Fast forward to with Sarah is that, you know, we talk about everything, and I'm an open book to Sarah. I have no secrets from Sarah. You know, I might have bought a lottery ticket and didn't tell you about it, but I finally found a best friend that I could talk to life about anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she's been my counselor.
So that's amazing. That's what you need in a partner too. Someone you can actually just bond with, talk to. You just share everything. That's amazing.
One of the coolest compliments I ever got was from one of my younger brothers when he met Sarah and saw how our relationship was going. He's like, "She's the female version of you."
I love it.
I was like, "No, I'm the male version of her."
So you go through the divorce, and then how do you and Sarah meet?
On Match? No, just kidding.
On Tinder.
Actually,
At
on
2 in the
Match,
morning?
she was the first person to follow me on Match. But the joke, well, I always tease her, she didn't have a picture on there.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's like, you're just a stalker then. Riesling 101, I think was her name. But no, we both were from the same small town of Lewis Center. She was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. We would always run into each other at the bar. It was always funny when Sarah walked. You know, I'd be at the bar flirting, bartender. All of a sudden, here comes Sarah. I'd try and change. Oh, she would always come in with her crackberry. She's always texting.
Crackberry.
That was always the joke. And I know she'll see this. And my come on line was, "Man, you look like a hot school teacher." 'Cause she wears glasses. I was like, can you put your glasses down to your nose? But how we really first started talking was the guy I was hanging out with at the bar we wanted to go to this dance club. He was hitting on Sarah's friend, Michelle. So Sarah's like, "Hey, you guys want to go dance?" And yeah, we'll go to this club and go dance. Can you give us a ride? Yeah.
Of course.
Give us a ride. Then the guy I'm with tries to get in a fight with the guy that Sarah was kind of talking to before me. And
oh, jeez.
yeah. So we were always just crossing paths. And then finally when I told her that I was getting a divorce, because, I was trying to talk to her, but you're still married. You can't, I'm not going to do anything. And
Good woman.
Good woman. So we, when I told her we were getting divorced, I can still see the look in her eyes, like, swing.
Hell yeah.
So we just started talking through that. I mean, me and the boys were going over to Sarah's house because Sarah's Gregg, Dad's friend. We'd done that a few times, and then the one night we're driving home, Tanner, "Hey, Dad, I think I'm going to ask Caitlin out." Oh, shit.
And Caitlin's her daughter.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I had to, as soon as I got home, I had to text Sarah, "We have to tell the kids we're dating." So we told the kids the next day, and then both the kids were like, "Ew, oh my God.
That's my sister.
You're my brother." So we started dating. And
what was the first official proper date? Just you two, no friends around, no fist fight and all that bullshit.
We went to a movie
Okay.
to see Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yes. Matthew
Oh,
McConaughey's my dude.
Yeah, that's Emma's, that's her hall pass. Matthew McConaughey.
If I switch teams, that'd be my hall pass too. But yeah, Sarah can have Matthew McConaughey. And if my hall pass could be probably Jennifer Aniston.
Hell yeah.
So no, we went to this, and it's the first movie theater I knew you could drink at.
Oh yeah.
So I'm nervous. Had a couple beers. Went to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times, but we went to the movie. Then it was in a mall. God, what's it called? I forget. It's up in Columbus. Oh my God, memory's the first thing to go.
Mm-hmm.
But downstairs there was a Fridays. I think it was Fridays or Max and Irma's. We sat down there and just talked the whole night. Dropped her off home, didn't kiss her goodbye. And she was like, "You didn't fucking kiss me on our first date." I was trying to be a gentleman.
Yeah, I get it. You want to do the right thing.
Yeah. So, but that was our first date was that. It was cool. I mean, the coolest thing is same thing. She was in a tough first marriage, it was a tough marriage for her. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And she wasn't able to be herself.
Mm-hmm.
And, when we got together, I could just tell it was a female version of me, because she gets just to be herself. She's got her flaws. I got my flaws, but, it's funny. I was looking at her yesterday. We're driving around, and the way I just looked at her, I was like, God, this woman is still so fucking beautiful to me, just inside and out. And
That's such a good feeling.
oh yeah, it is. I get it every now and then.
Yeah,
I'm a very emotional guy. She
I
hates
am
that.
too. I
she
am
hates
too.
that.
Does she?
Oh, I'm too emotional sometimes.
Yeah, I understand. I'm the same way, and I think it comes from. I mean, also having that this is through therapy again. I know probably too much. Shouldn't know, but when you grow up with that like single mother, even though you had that father, you are naturally a more emotional person. I found out.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the relationship with you and Sarah picks up steam quick, as you said.
Oh, yeah.
The kids are meeting each other, and
Yeah, because we only dated like 6 months, and then boom, we're getting married.
all right. And then how's what was the proposal? What'd you do?
Her dad kind of helped us with that.
Yeah.
we were going up there to tell her parents that we were moving in together because, hey, we're going to get married. We don't want to. The way things happened, she was renting a house from a guy that wasn't paying the bank. So basically, the bank came to Sarah and said, "Hey, we'll give you $3,000, but you got to get out. You know, this guy's not paying the mortgage. We know it's not your fault because you can show us that you've been paying him." So she was getting ready to lose her house. Kim, my ex-wife, was living in our old house. She couldn't afford the mortgage, so she was going to go let it go into foreclosure. I was like, whoa, that's a VA loan. I'll get screwed. So Sarah and I decided to move back into my old house that I lived with Kim.
Ooh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Was
But at the time, it's like, we have no,
It was the
Sarah's got
best.
no place to live. My lease in my apartment's coming up. Kim's going to move out of this house after it goes into foreclosure. So, yeah, we took over the mortgage at my old house and moved. You know, the boys were living in there, so they stayed. Now here come these new stepsisters and a stepmom.
Did that cause?
Oh, yeah. It was tough at first. So we were talking to her parents about moving in, and I said, hey, this might have been, we'll say February. I was like, I'm going to propose to Sarah. We'll probably.
Oh, yeah, we skipped the whole proposal.
I said, I'll probably propose this summer. And her dad's like, oh, I got a cubic zirconia ring. You guys can just get married now. And I'm like, oh, shit, he just proposed for me. So we're driving home, and I'm like, I guess we're getting married. She's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then a few weeks later, we were going to Kings Island Amusement Park, and that's where I proposed to her. And I want to do it with the kids.
Yeah.
I took the 2 older kids out to dinner and said, hey, Caitlin and Tanner, I'm going to propose to Sarah. Just want to let you two know, but keep your mouth shut. So there's a picture of us, and you can see that the older kids are like laughing, and the younger kids are like, what the fuck just happened? So, yeah, proposed. Tanner and Caitlin, they're only a month apart. Tanner's a month older. I think they were in 5th grade going into 6th, and the 2 younger ones were obviously younger. So at first, I mean, it was like after probably the first month, there was conversations. Sarah and I both like, what the fuck did we just do? Just did we rush into this? Because, even Tanner said it, Dad, it was cool because we're going through a divorce, but we had a lot of just guy time.
Yeah.
It was just me and Cody and you. And then all of a sudden, bam, he's got a stepmom. He's got 2 sisters. His mom was dating a guy that had 4 kids. I mean, his
life expanded a lot.
Right. There was many times, Cody, both of my kids are somewhat introverts, but Tanner wears his emotions on his sleeve a little more than Cody. Cody, his feelings come out when you back him into a corner and he comes out swinging with his mouth. The girls are very emotional, positive and negative, as far as they wear their hearts on their sleeves. All 4 of my kids are big lovers that, they're always there for their friends. They're there for each other. They're there for their family. But in the very beginning, we had some conflicts. The younger one, Morgan, who lives with us down here, it was real hard for her. And she finally admitted once she got older, she's like, like Tanner said, I had to share my mom with somebody. It's kind of weird. Like Caitlin's my oldest daughter. Cody's my youngest son. They're both very athletic, popular in the friend group. And then Morgan, my youngest daughter, and Tanner, my oldest son, very emotional. Very dedicated to, Morgan's, right at mom's heels, and Tanner's always there with me, type of thing, emotionally and just attached. He was my first son, so we have a lot of.
It's your best friend.
It's my best friend. I see a lot of myself in him. I see a lot of myself in both of my boys, just whether it's the outgoingness or the emotions. Tanner's, wears his emotions on his sleeve, always looking for that attention as well. So it was tough for Tanner. It was tough for all 4 of them. But as we got into the marriage, I realized, again, I was not going to be. I wanted the girls to have a dad that I wanted to have for myself. So I was always, I overfathered. I jumped into being father and stepfather as quick as I could.
Was their biological father in the picture?
Yeah. He was
Okay.
still in the same town too.
And was he like in the picture, or was he just there? And that
He-
doesn't
he-
matter.
he
I guess.
was- It was tough.
Okay.
He was they had some tough times with their father, just emotional, you know. His mother died when he was young. So I think his childhood was real rough, and he didn't know how to. I don't want to be that parent.
Yeah.
So Sarah and Marty had a lot of discussions, finances, visitation, where you did this, well I'm going to do this, and they would argue a lot. And
Mhm.
there was many times that Kim and I would still argue. So it's funny, Sarah and I always talk about how we don't really argue that much, and back then we had a lot of arguments, but it was always because of the ex, or it was always because of one of the kids was doing this and you weren't doing that. And we had to, the parenting, Sarah and I had to adjust. Like if I was up here and Sarah was here, we had to gradually, whether it's, well, I let the girls stay up all night on a school night. Well, I tell the boys to go to bed at 8:30. So we had to, well, why do I have to go to bed if they get to, so
Yeah, interesting. I never
there's
really
a
thought
lot
about
of
that.
adjustments. A
Yeah.
lot of it, again, the word adjustments came up, but it was, I realized as the stepfather and as the father, my divorce that I went through as a child, I was able to relate to the kids so easily.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that we talked about earlier that I realized later in life. Well, why did this happen? Did God really have a plan that, hey, I don't know. He hasn't answered me yet, but did he put me through a divorce as a child so I could help my children?
Yeah, so you could be equipped for the situation.
I could at least relate to them
Mhm.
because there was many times that the girls or the boys were upset about something, and Sarah was like, well, why are they acting like that? And I'm like, Sarah, you transition on Sunday night is the worst fucking part about a divorce, because you're walking down the driveway to see dad. Hey, I'm glad you're here to pick me up. And mom's on the front porch and you just want to run back and hug her. I said, Sarah, you have no idea what that feels like. It fucking sucks.
So much emotion.
So much for a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, when I was going through that, I only had to go through that 2 times a month.
Right.
Because I only saw my dad every other weekend. Our kids, the visitation was like every few days. At one point, Tanner's like, hey, can we adjust the schedule so we're at your house when the girls are here? Like, he really wanted all 6 of us to be there together. And it was real tough because now we have, a full night of transition. Sunday night, Marty comes to pick up the girls. We drop off the boys. Oh, fuck, So it was ironic how I was able to help the kids through some shit because I went through it too, and I could relate to them.
If you were gonna give a parent going through divorce right now advice as far as how they can make it smoother and maybe some tips for their kids, what would you say?
Like we said earlier, when our parents moved us, and our parents would always say, "Oh, you'll make friends, you'll be okay." Don't ever assume the kids are going to be okay. And I'm not telling you as a parent to dig into the kids and like, you tell me what's wrong with you right now. We have to fix this. Don't be that way. But when the kids say, "Oh, I'm okay, I'm fine," don't think they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's just sometimes you have, as a parent going through a divorce with children, you have to be their friend. And I know it's hard to be a friend and a parent because it's like your manager at work. Hey, I'm just your friend right now. No, you're still my manager. I have to watch what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Let the kids tell you whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
They might tell you, Mom, I didn't like how you handled this last week, or, number one, don't ever put the kids in the middle. Don't ever tell your kid, well, you tell your mom this when you get home. Don't ever talk bad about the other parent in front of your kids. Like, don't think you're making yourself look any better. Like, well, I know your mom bought you those brand new shoes, but she's got more money than me. Don't ever talk down about the other parent to your kids.
And why? I mean, it seems pretty
It's
obvious.
not the kid's fault.
But it seems pretty obvious. But what would that be? What would the reaction to that be?
That's still their mom. Like, if I'm the kid and my dad's telling me that, oh, your mom bought you a brand new pair of shoes because she makes more money than you, you're talking about my mom. I know she's your ex-wife, and you're trying to make yourself look better or make reasons why you can't be something, but that's still their mom. Don't talk bad about my mom. If I was sitting here talking to you about your girlfriend, trying to give you advice, oh, well, yeah, I can't believe she fucking did that. She such a oh, whoa, bro, she's still my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to help me, so don't ever talk bad about the other parent in front of the kids. Listen to them, and if you think something's wrong with them, it probably is, but just listen to them. Don't force it out of them. They're going to come to you, but when they do come to you, listen. Don't try to be the parent. Just listen, because you think it's tough going through a divorce as the adult. It's 1,000 times worse as the kid, because they still love both of you, and now you guys don't love each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably. I'll never mind. might have just slipped up and said something that I probably shouldn't have said. But yeah, no, I think that's very important because I know from experience that that's a very common thing through divorce is putting the kid in the middle, and that's just a lot of pressure as a kid. I went through that. I know how that feels. It's
or like I said, even when hey, tell your mom I can't be at your next, I can't pick you up on Wednesday. She's going to have to. You just put me in the middle. You tell her you're the adult, but when you're also talking bad about them, you're still putting them in the middle because what are they supposed to do? Sit there and defend their parent?
Mm-hmm.
If as soon as they do, why would you? Oh, you must love your mom more than is what they hear.
Yeah.
You just got to realize that it's probably the hardest thing. I associate divorce to death because it is. It's a death. I mean,
it is.
Not only do you have two people that love each other and they rip their hearts apart, there's still, I still have part of Kim's heart because she, I don't love her the way I used to. I care about her as a human, but not only is the divorce dead, but the person, or is like death, but the person is still alive. Kim is still out. She's still part of my life to some degree. Sometimes we still have to talk about stuff with the kids or whatever, and just go over some things. But it's that would be my best advice: is be there for them, listen. Don't ever tell them they're going to be okay, because they will. But they don't feel okay.
No, and that's like one of the worst things that you can hear when you're going through a tough situation. It'll be fine.
I hate
shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah. If I'll be fine, I wouldn't feel like shit.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, it'll be fine when? In 20 fucking years? Because it feels like dog shit right now, and it doesn't feel like it's getting any better.
Something else I just thought of, if you're a parent going through a divorce, if you haven't been through a divorce as a child like I was, talk to other parents who've gone through the divorce that might be further down life than you. Talk to other adults that have, like myself, that have been a child from divorce. Divorce is a label. And I don't think Kim and I could have saved our marriage, but I think too much anymore, divorce is so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like people look at it like when we were growing up, like it's just a breakup, At some point, I guarantee you, I mean, you're going to be able to get divorced online. It's going to be that easy.
Click a button.
Unfriend.
Yeah.
My divorce lasted 13 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. It was so quick. I hated it. It was just like, wow.
All these years, it was just 13 minutes.
Kim actually filed it. So, she was the only one that could talk to the magistrate and asked her 3 questions, looked at me and said, do you agree? And I just said, yes, sir. Or yes, your honor. And we were done. And I went out in the hallway and started getting emotional, and she's like, what's wrong? I was like, everything we just been through, just like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's look at how much you have to spend and prepare for a marriage compared to a divorce. You think a divorce would be harder to get through. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it is if there's more things involved, but it takes more planning, sometimes more money, and more emotions to get married. But divorce can be ended in just a 13-minute conversation.
That's crazy. I never actually, I mean, obviously I've been through a divorce, as the son, but I've never been through my own divorce. I never actually thought about that. It's kind of sick and twisted.
Because to me, you can be labeled as you guys are married, but if you're labeled as divorced, it's like, to me, that's a harder thing to swallow. Yeah. But it can be done so easily. Yeah. It's literally just a quick breakup.
That's crazy. I really never thought about that. It's really interesting. Wow. So moving forward,
that really flipped you for a loop, didn't it?
Yeah. I never thought about that. I just kind of just threw my mind off. That's crazy. Moving forward to the Inspired 365. Yeah. What was the evolution? How did that start?
I had mentioned that I can remember sitting in my apartment kitchen, just hitting rock bottom, and it was just certain things that I would feel like. I told you I made the decision on the beach about going to the service. Then actually we did the Save the Marriage trip. We'd already planned a trip to Hilton Head, but then we were going through a divorce. And we're like, well, we might as well fucking do it. We'll have a family vacation. I sat on the beach in Hilton Head or out there just realizing this is happening. And then we did have a trip to Myrtle Beach with the kids. And that was a little bit before that. And I remember sitting there looking at the waves. And the way Inspired 365 came about was we can't control the tide, so we might as well learn how to surf, which is, I can't control the ocean. I can't control shit going on in my life. Yes, I could have tried to control the divorce, but it wouldn't have been a good marriage. I can't control life, and life is like the waves.
Mm-hmm.
They come in every couple seconds.
Yeah.
And I can sit here and I can sit in the sand and bitch about life and bitch about this big wave coming in or Hurricane Ian. that I've been living 365 a lot lately, but I realize I can't control the waves. So might as well grab this surfboard of life, get on it, and learn how to surf. I love the aspect of the whole surfing industry. Never done it. It's my number one bucket list is learn to surf. But I just realized that was inspired, and then the name of it I just came up with just, I want to be inspired, I stay motivated to be inspired 365. And I started learning going through the divorces. Because like I say, my divorce took me back to this shit that I went through as a kid. And it's kind of weird how the divorce healed me now that I'm saying it out loud from the shit I went through as a kid. But then I just started realizing, like we talked earlier, after my divorce, I realized I was a yes dear husband, made sure everybody in society and everybody in town knew that we were happy. No, fuck that. I'm going to be who I want to be. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be Gregg, and if no one likes it, fuck you, get out of my way. I'm not going to be cocky and say, oh, you don't like me? Well, fuck you, and tell you all the reasons why I don't like you. But, all right, well, you're missing out on a great guy.
Yeah.
Deuces.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But Inspired 365, again, it started from the beach. And then I just started realizing I started journaling and coming up with catchphrases. Just think of this shirt I have on the back says either find yourself or build yourself.
Yeah, that's
just
a badass shirt. I like that shirt.
Just little things like that things that would get me through the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started putting, back then I wasn't really on Facebook yet because for our generation, the college kids were on Facebook. And then when they went to Instagram, we got on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I started seeing all these people having these motivational things that they just got off the internet. I'm like, fuck that. I can have a better aspect of that. So every now and then I'd come up with different sayings. And then I started, I just put a little blur. I'd put like a saying of, we can't control the tide, so we learn to surf. And I have a picture of the ocean, before Instagram was Instagram, I guess. So then Instagram started hitting, and then I just started doing videos because I started realizing you'd asked a while ago, the kids I hung out with in high school, Randy James was one of them. And, very devoted Christian, BMX rider, loved the Doors, just trying to hit aspects of him. Real good guy. So I'm an open book. I was on the internet, I'm on Facebook talking about my divorce, talking about coaching baseball. Started Inspired 365, doing some videos, and just then I would start putting my opinion on things about just life. Mm-hmm. When I started doing Inspired 365, it wasn't just to get likes. It was just I wanted kind of what you're doing. I just want to tell a story that, oh my God, I just realized this. I want to make a video about it real quick. Maybe somebody will see it. I didn't, 1,000 people could see it and only one person like it. That's fine. I would get all kinds of people come up to me later and say, hey, I saw your video. I didn't want to like it because I'm going through a divorce. I didn't want people to know that, but man, it really inspired me. And I appreciate you doing it. And I'm like, that's the only reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah, that feels
so good. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for fame. I truly feel like in life, we're supposed to live it, love it, learn it, and then share it.
Yeah.
Because as we've been talking about a few times, people they can relate to it. So Randy James had reached out to me and he said, hey, can you meet for coffee? I'm like, yeah, sure. What's up? He's like, I just want to catch up on some things. I'm going through some shit in my life, and I want to see if you get your opinion. I walked into Starbucks and he looked like shit, just sunk in, and I knew what was coming. He looked like death, and he was getting ready to go through a divorce. Yeah. And I was like, this guy, this is the guy that's, to me, had everything going his way, has his own company. But so I just basically told him what I went through, and he had had kids around the same age. Told him my life experiences and all, and I just realized that every time I think of Randy James, and I use the analogy, he's coming through that dark tunnel, and I'm halfway down with the flashlight. Hey, dude, I've been through this dark tunnel. I have a shortcut. Let's go this way. An example of, don't drop the kids off after dark on Sunday night because that's it's just dark. Mm-hmm. They're already feeling alone. You're dropping them off. So just things like, it's things like that I just realized, oh shit, the more I tell my story, someone's going to hear it. Someone's going to appreciate it. Someone's going to want to talk about it. So it's like, yeah, I've been through divorce as a kid. I've been through a divorce myself, the military, family business, blending families, all that shit. If I just keep it inside, yeah, it's benefiting me, but I don't think that's God's plan. Mm-hmm. I think God's plan is you're going to go through some shit. It's almost like, you're taking a trip back to Ohio. What do? You get on your phone and see if there's any construction, see if there's any, any detours or something. People have already been that route,
Mm-hmm.
and they know, Waze, I think, is the one. Hey, you've already been this way. Don't go this way because there's a cop or there's bad traffic. Oh, so you're telling me that you've been down this dark tunnel and you're telling me another way to go?
Yeah.
We do the same thing literally in life.
Yeah.
So, but do we do everything like that in life? We'll definitely get on our phones and see, hey, which way to go in traffic, but, get off your phone.
Yeah.
Ask someone, hey,
Yeah.
remember back in the day when you had to stop and ask for directions? Go down
Print-
there by the big yellow tree that's not there anymore. The big maple tree, it's not there anymore. So if we do that literally for directions to get somewhere, why don't we do that for directional aspects of life?
Yeah, yeah. I've talked to a couple people about this who are kind of doing something similar, something similar to the things that we're doing right now. And I think we've all had those moments where you watch a movie or you listen to a song and it kind of changes the direction of your life a little bit. And
Absolutely.
And anyone can be that for anybody. You can have a conversation with a stranger that can literally change the trajectory of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of
or so much of, damn, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't, like you said earlier when I was talking about, I forget what we said, and you're like, how divorces goes faster than planning a marriage. It does.
Yeah. It's just like those little conversations can spark a lot of different things, can spark a lot of ideas that can turn into bigger things. And that's I think that's what this podcast is I'm trying to, get different people on here who can share their story and hopefully help somebody and at least, spark some ideas or just make some change in the world. Just do something good. I think
Right.
that not enough people are out there sharing their story.
Ironically, the way we met was through my wife seeing your post on Facebook, which is ironic to my point in a second. It's just like, but we have to get off our phones and we have to look up.
Yeah.
But if we didn't look down on our phones to see, Twisted and Tested on there, and then two, we want people to see these episodes and learn from it. But my point, I think you can agree, is I think we need to get our heads up, and look around and listen,
100%,
and just enjoy life, because as the cliche goes, it is too short,
Yeah.
And I find myself many times like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to next Friday, the weekend. But it's like, but I'm here today. I mean, seriously, not to get too deep in it. If God forbid something happens tonight and I'm not here tomorrow, at least I know that I had a great conversation today. And I think if we look at life like enjoy the moment, you really do enjoy that wave that just came in, because I might not be able to be on the beach later because of the rain, or like I say with the hurricane, I learned real quick how to accept, adapt, and overcome, because the hurricane that just came through here, it's almost been a year. Talk about shit we can't control.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
I'd never experienced anything like that before.
I hadn't either. We'd only, up north we have, blizzards or tornadoes, not too many tornadoes in Ohio, but yeah, that 8 hours, I still get some PTSD because I sat in our recliner looking out our patio door, because that's all I could picture is our doors are going to get blown in and I got to throw a mattress up against the window. But yeah, but we made it. We learned from it, and we're trying to overcome it.
Yeah, no. Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. I just jumped around a lot.
No, you're perfect.
I think the whole reason why you had me here was to obviously see if I can throw some stuff out there. And I think we hit on it here at the end, is this. Today's episode, basically, you met another guy that's been through some shit. No one's perfect, but I'm here. I made it. I definitely want to thank my wife, Sarah, for being there for me, for being my rock. I think if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Damn it, here we go. My 4 kids, I love all 4 of them. They're amazing in their own special way. It hasn't been perfect, but, life's not perfect, but we've definitely learned from it. They're 4 amazing kids. I'm not rushing it, but man, I can't wait till they're parents so they can understand everything I've been teaching them. That life's gonna be tough. If you're somebody watching this going through a divorce, keep your head up. If you need anything, reach out to me. I'd love to just be there for you and give you my advice. If you're younger generation watching this, life sucks. Life's a piece of shit, but you have to make the best of it.
Absolutely.
We're all gonna get hit with those waves. And little Inspired 365 in here is, you can't. We can't control everything. Control what you can control. Accept, adapt, overcome, and make the best of it. Life's gonna be tough, but I think the more we share our life with people, we're gonna realize we're not the only ones. We've been through it. we've made it, and we're trying to make the best of it. And it's been a pleasure meeting you, dude. I can see us hanging out more.
Absolutely.
You're one hell of a dude, and I give you tons of credit for doing this, because it's not only that not only are you getting to meet people and have them open up, but I know it's probably opening up a lot for you every time you talk to somebody, and that can be good. It can be twisted, but it can be tested, and it can be it can be Chase approved.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for coming on. For all the people sorry, I didn't cut you off.
You're fine.
For all the people watching, I will link all of Gregg's pages, anything, any way to find him. It will be in the description box down below. Definitely check him out. He's got some amazing work out there. His project is, I love it. It's exactly what I'm trying to do. So it's perfect.
It is,
yeah. So yeah, no, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all that bullshit. Thanks again for coming on, man. It was a pleasure.
Amen, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you.